Getting into the panel, we've got a fascinating mix. Dr. Sahu obviously comes from the chemicals and the B2B business. Mukesh, you've met earlier, comes from very critical sort of business, which is very, very centric to consumers as Paisa Bazaar. But I'd probably throw the room open and the floor open to the panel here. And Dr. Sahu, the first question to you is, how has your organization really adopted the whole GenAI, erstwhile buzzword, but now business imperative? And what are those different railguards or checklists or frameworks that you as an organization, as a leader, are sort of enforcing to ensure that the misuses or the risks that actually eliminate from the use of GenAI is mitigated or controlled?
Yeah, before answering your question, a couple of statistics let us discuss. As per the analysis, 82% of senior leaders using GenAI. Out of them, 46% leaders using GenAI on everyday basis. One statistics. As you mentioned, GenAI is getting used for a longer time. Slowly we are moving agentic AI. Okay, 90% of enterprise also started using GenAI, are developing AI, and couple of 77% of business also either exploring or they are started also, that is GenAI. Most are in pilot phase. Couple of 66% are in pilot phase. Many pilot are happening in many organizations. Okay, but 5% they got ROI as of now. That is not a very good number because everybody is implementing GenAI, but ROI kitna mil raha, right? So ultimately question will come, when business will come, ROI will come. ROI is very less number as per the statistics. Okay, 80% senior leaders, they got the budget for the next 12 years. Couple of statistics are there. Okay, coming to couple of questions also. Do you know agentic AI, GenAI used in long time. Those are 2016. One company appointed CEO as AI. Any idea who is that company or who is that? The answer is Mika. If you Google it, you will find it. MICA. Okay, Mika was appointed as CEO of one company because he is having CEO. AI is CEO. Okay, because why? They are available 24/7, and it is a liquor company. Interesting is a liquor company. उन्होंने CEO को AI को CEO as appointment किया because they will have 24/7 availability. 24. There will be no emotional things. They will have accurate number, 100% number like this. Okay. Similarly, in China also, they appointed one person as a CEO also. That name is Tang Yu. Tang Yu, one company, they appointed AI as a CEO. If everybody know about Sophia, who got a citizenship. Okay, जिसको citizenship नहीं मिलता है, तो एक robot को citizenship मिल रहा है. So there are a lot of things is happening. Teeny Nonwood, he's the first AI actor in Bollywood. Similarly, you must be knowing Sana. Sana is the AI anchor. So anchor also starting AI. Slowly, our leadership, जब CEO change हो सकता है, then we can also get replaced. In future, this is possible. Your company will appoint somebody AI as a CEO or CISO also. So these are the statistics and couple of facts. Okay, but now question is, if you are deploying AI in your GenAI in your organization, what should I do? The first question is AI for business or business is for AI? Okay, from the business, you have to take use case. What are the use cases there? What is the pain areas there? From there, you can start GenAI things. And we should start a committee. The committee should involve CIO, CISO, some legal head, some board of directors if you are involving, that is fine because you will get a special focus. And start with a small. Okay, start with a small and make sure enterprise get application you are using O365, sorry, not Azure, AWS you are using. Keep always human in the loop. Okay, because जितना भी AI GenAI होता है, because human intelligence will take a call finally. Okay, so continuous training, most important is continuous training. So first, to answer the questions, start with a small. Take the business use case. What are the business use cases you are getting to solve? And take a committee who will take a decision. Don't take a decision. User training is most critical. So like this, we can start in your organizations.
Thank you so much. And tell me you didn't get that data from AI. You got it from...
Yeah.
But just coming to you and in terms of, Mukesh, your business obviously being so centric to data and I'm sure confidence is a major aspect of it, because as a consumer, if I am transacting on a platform and if it's involving my personal data, my money, how my money is managed, a platform to kind of enable that, how have you as an organization sort of ensured that GenAI guardrails are really, really strong and the controls that you have around it have been properly secured and architected?
Sure. Thank you very much, Abhishek, for having me here. In Paisabazaar, look, as we use a lot of data, and I'll start with the context, like why people raise a trust issue with AI again, and why do, not the issue, but why do they correlate AI and trust? Because again, as I mentioned in my previous panel also, typical GenAI models, they've been trained on data, right? It's like the basic, like GenAI for dummies is like, you have a lot of data, you read it, that data, and you become an intelligent knowledge base now. Now people ask you a question, you try to match your knowledge base and give output. Now, that's how the GenAI works. Now the only caveat here is, the knowledge which you learned, the knowledge base. So you can accumulate, these models have accumulated this knowledge from all over the places, like from the internet. So they have data from India, they have data from Pakistan, they have data from across the globe, right? US data, chemical, like different industries data. So when you ask certain questions, so the model has to first look into the data and come up with the highest trust or a confidence score, and that output is what you typically get from the GenAI model. Now, in Paisabazaar, what we typically do is we do not overfeed our models with that kind of data. It is not needed. What our model needs is the financial information, specifically what we have for the customer. Like if you come to Paisabazaar and you request for something which is not part of the portfolio, then it doesn't make sense to have that information as a part of model. So since we offer credit awareness, so we have the credit score related data. We have the lending related data. If you have availed a loan from us or a credit score or a credit card from us, so we understand that data and we train our model on top of it. Hence, the data hallucination or the trust related issues, typically we do not have in our org.
How have you, as someone who's been at the firm for the longest time, seen the evolution of the whole secure by design concept? Have you seen that, just being a technology-led innovation which has sort of taken more shape and form, or is it a change in the mindset of actually having risk at the core of it and then developing your guardrails around?
Well, I'm a big fan of secure by design principles. My DevSecOps head is sitting here, and the fundamental thing which we believe is we are leaning now towards left, which is a shift left approach, right? It's a technical lingo again, shift left. What basically it is like going back to the basic. Shift left is that. Earlier shift right was there where everything has to be automated and zero trust, all this zero trust security framework. What basically zero trust security frameworks talks about कि आप किसी पे trust ही मत करो. For example, if someone who is taking care of my SecOps, so I don't trust on that guy, I don't place my trust on that guy, I place trust in my systems and the processes. That's what's basically zero trust. I do not trust on any individuals, instead I trust on the processes and the guardrails. That's zero trust. Now it has come to the AI also, because AI has access to data, so of course the zero trust has to come to the AI also. Now again, we can put as many checks as we want in order to secure, and I'm fundamental again believer of that security is never enough. You'll always, one or other day, there are people out there are technologies out there who'll outsmart you any day. So the best bet for which I'm always go for is to shift left, which is like secure it when you design it, when you plan it, right? When a developer is writing code, he has to be responsible and he has to be cognizant of that fact that what is the impact of this particular code piece on the production. Now, if someone is building models, so what that secure by design means to them. The AI scientist or the ML engineers, the secure by design means whenever they are using any model. Now, I always have two ways. Either I restrict my entire org and say you can only use 3-4 listed models जो मेरी repository में, इसके अलावा आप model ही use नहीं कर सकते. This is a restrictive framework. Other framework can be I can be very open and I can say you can decide what model you want to use, but ensure you check these 4, 5, 6 parameters. Like it has to come from a trusted open source body. If you are using an open source model, Hugging Face पे जा रहे हो, जहाँ से भी ले रहे हो आप, just ensure like it is coming from the trusted source. The model, you audit the license of the model. So typically when you go with the models or any open source software, you need to always look for the licenses, whether it's a MIT license, Apache license, AGPL, GPL, which allows whether you can use it commercially, whether you can redistribute that, or maybe you can use it for your production use cases. So that's the second thing. The third checklist is, what is the data that model has been trained on? You need to know, right? Before you start even using that model. So you need to know the data comes from that or this particular database. Then you need to track what kind of data. You need to do the sampling of that data, like what kind of data it is, or what inferences this data typically generates. Once you have these things sorted, then you can decide on, with your own consciousness, like, yeah, I'm going to use that model. That's the other way. Right? Both has its own pros and cons. When you become a large enterprise, I would go with the first approach where I have a defending firewalls which doesn't even allow. So that when you have a lot of people, then that's where the zero trust comes in. When you have a lot of people and you cannot influence those people directly, then you go with the processes. When you have a small 10 people team, you can influence them directly. Everybody knows each other. Then I don't think the zero trust becomes over engineering there. Right? It's not a simplicity then. In that case, you allow them to choose whatever model they want to use. That's on the model side. Then again comes to the data side. Like whatever data you are using, are you exposing any PII? Is it the data has the right attributes, data has the right properties? Have you done the data orchestration right? So that again, the second shift left approach which you need to do. And the third one, once you do it, is again, once you deploy, you train the data, you train the model on top of that data. Then once you deployed it, you need to, for a good time, you need to manually or as a human, you need to check the output of data. You need to measure the drifts.
The question to you, Dr. Sahu, is as someone who has been a practitioner earlier with Airtel and now with the more B2B sort of business side, how are you protecting your organization and also your customers, your suppliers, your dealers from breaches, either from an intersection point of just IT or the interjection of OT coming in when it comes to GenAI-led data theft?
See, we use GenAI as a predictive analysis also. If data is wrong, everything will get wrong, okay? And although OpenAI, free AI was stopped in our organizations, we are only allowing to Copilot. We don't allow everything because we stopped uploading data. So we have started monitoring, but we found there is 2.5x increase in DLP incident. As you mentioned, in Black Friday, that is happening. And there are 10x increase in data upload also to GenAI platform. So we used to follow the guardrails. So we used to ensure synthetic data leakage through prompts. Na ho, matlab somebody should not get PI data through prompts, prompts. Model modernization we used to do time to time as per the different regulatory act, everything. Data exposure training we need to do time to time, otherwise it will give wrong data. Okay, so vector database, data lake, we created a data lake, so so we'll have a single source of truth, so everything will get stored in data lake. From there, GenAI analytics will work, so that single source of truth is there. Insecure API integration, if you are doing insecure API integration, you do an audit on API. We, as of now, there are in our organization 300 plus APIs getting used. Luckily, none of them are public APIs. So get APIs, get it audited time to time. Create a hard policy, visibility gap also used in data flows. So all things, and most critical is insider threats. Okay, whatever you do, AI can be used in good way or bad way also. So insider threat is most critical there. Make sure insider threat is not happening. Keep monitoring through DLPs because DLP incident will increase slowly. So actually, there was an incident a couple of days back. One of my VP, he asked me how people are writing so intelligent mail. You stop ChatGPT. I told I cannot stop ChatGPT because 70%, 80%, 90% of people are using. Gen Zs, day one, they will ask you to give all these GenAI platforms. Okay, but GenAI will be not 100%. Still, it will be 93, 94% accuracy. It will not give 100% accuracy. So we started using for predictive analysis. We are started using because we are into renewable power. We started using there also how much power will consume. If wind is this much, how much? Because wind turbines are there. There is a season, particular season, the wind will be more, power will be more. So that also we are getting analyzed. Because try to understand, if you getting more power also, you are supplying more power to grid. That is a problem. If you are supplying less power to grid, that is a problem. So all things can be analyzed, but we have to be very careful. We have to create our guardrails. We have to test multiple times, we have to create awareness. So all things we need to do to make sure that there is no data leakage, proper implementation is there.
Let's speak about a wish list, right? In terms of what do you as CISOs and CIOs and the guardian angels of the organization's data privacy want from the industry, from the regulators, from consultants, from companies who are actually building those platforms for you? If I got to be asking this question to both you gentlemen, right? If there's one sort of wish list, and how do you see that really helping you in your business? Maybe we'll start with Mukesh.
Well, look, my wish list is nothing fancy. All I want to people to become sane about using AI, and we speak truth. And people need to understand, especially the Gen AI part. You talked about the data fraud and the misinformation. If you go to ChatGPT, ask कि ऑपरेशन सिंदूर में कितने राफेल गिरे हैं, तो वही बताएगा जो ट्रम्प ने बोला है. मतलब that's the fact, because that's the information seeded into the internet, and that information the model has been trained on. It will give you that information only. So people has to be cognizant of the fact that this is just a technology, and it will give you output basis the data it has been trained on. No emotional attachment to it. So you have to validate your data before you take any action on it. Even directionally, it can give you answers which might not align with your views. So the awareness on Gen AI has to be, I think, as an industry, I would expect the industry need to understand the working principles of Gen AI instead of making it as a FOMO or a big buzzword, and make it realistic for people to understand like what it is. Look, again, I might be little again philosophical, and I can say, in general in our life, like I have been taught in my upbringing, you are average of 5 people you generally live along with. Why would we say this? Because वो जो 5 लोग हैं उन्हीं से आप सुनते हो, that is the information you are capturing, and that's what your intelligence is. So we have this phrase, right? मूर्ख संग नहीं दे विधाता, ताते भलो नरक को वासा. कि मूर्ख के साथ ना दे, इससे भला नरक दे दे. तो because we say this because once you have the wrong information, you will act wrong, and you will not even realize like you are acting wrong, because that information is seeded to the core that you believe this is right. Hence, that's the same with the Gen AI. Gen AI, generative AI is again कि ये डेटा है, इसके ऊपर ट्रेन हुआ है मॉडल, अब इस डेटा में जो था उसी के ऊपर वो आंसर देना है. So that fact we need to get as anyone as a consumer of the AI. That's what I expect everyone to understand.
And I think that's a classical example of garbage in and garbage out.
Yeah,
right?
just I was telling, garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah,
only.
because essentially what you feed in is what you get. But
only Gen Z, while giving garbage out, you can add some emotions. Okay, you ask them to write it in soft language. It will soft. Write a mail to HR. I want to write a mail to HR. It will tell. So it will write in that way. So it will give you garbage out, but some emotionally can correct.
Well, yes, I agree to that, Dr. Sahu. But if I'm looking at that as a very simple, non-harmful use case. But imagine you use garbage out in a AI-assisted surgery that someone is going through. One garbage out can actually have the limb out for somebody else, right? So I think essentially it's also about how seriously we take the whole garbage in bit of it, and ensure that the cleansing of the data, or the data that we actually are interpreting from the AI is used with the right, or I can say with a pinch of salt in that sense, because you've got to be using what you can, which is outside of the judgment or realms of your own, human capability, but the rest of it still should be done by the human rather than this. So I think this has been fascinating. Thank you both for sharing so much of information.